It all started with cards and memorization, one of the greatest minds the world has ever seen. Introducing Jim Karol, author, speaker, and mentalist turned memory expert. He has been studied by Florida Hospital for his brain and memory and is a frequent speaker at MIT. Jim has also performed at several USO tours, working closely with our military and wounded warriors. Now, taking his knowledge and skills to the podcast world, interviewing some of the most impressive minds and allowing them to tell their stories about how they beat the odds. Beating the Odds is brought to you by Signal Relief, the drug-free pain relief patch. Please visit signalrelief.com and use promo code MEMORY for an exclusive offer only for our Beating the Odds listeners. Welcome back to another episode of Beating the Odds with Jim Karol. Today we have a special episode, two guests, Robert Irvine and Dominick Cruz. Chef Robert Irvine is an English world-class chef, entrepreneur, and host. His style of cooking and personality has revolutionized the food channel with his show Dinner Impossible, reaching over 1 million viewers a week. Dominick Cruz is a two-time UFC bantamweight champion. His fighting style is characterized by unorthodox movements with a powerful wrestling base. Cruz originally won the title in 2010 and then came back in 2016 to regain it. Please enjoy this episode of Beating the Odds with Jim Karol, Chef Robert Irvine, and Dominick Cruz.
Okay, my guest, the one, the only, Chef Robert Irvine. Out of everyone I've ever met in my life, traveling around the world and all over, Robert, you are without a doubt the best dude I've ever met. And you know I mean that when I say that. You're the most awesome guy in the world.
Do I have to pay for that now, Jim? Come on. No, I know. Thank you for that. It's very sweet, very kind.
No, we had so much fun. Oh my God. You're the one that got me woke into this world with the military, and now it's nonstop. And the work you do for our military and our troops is beyond amazing. And what I love about you is you really, truly, truly mean it. You know what I mean? You could tell when somebody really cares and when they're just, hey, I'm just going because part of the business. You really, truly want to help. And you actually now, was it the British Royal Navy at 15? You told me you were in once or something?
15 and a half years old. Yep. I joined the Navy as a cook.
Wow. That's amazing. At the age of 15. And then
I signed up. I didn't go until I was 16,
yeah.
But yes.
When did you come here, Robert, to the United States? We never talked about that.
1997.
Wow. You're looking good, man. What the heck? You're so busy. How do you keep so fit and healthy?
I have a lot of great people. We have multiple companies, and I have a lot of great people, a lot of veterans. The foundation, Dave, my foundation guy is sitting over here I just told him to be quiet because I'm on with you. But Dave is a ranger, lost his leg in Afghanistan, and he runs my foundation now. So it's pretty cool. We do a lot. One of the things I found being in the military and doing the things we do and travel the globe, and obviously you've been with us when we do that together. We do a big yomp every year in Scotland. Unfortunately, this year is not been on because of COVID, but we normally have 1,000 wounded warriors and caregivers in Scotland yomping across the Pennines of Scotland, which is kind of interesting, from all coalition forces. So we do an awful lot, and it's in the vein of giving back and making sure we support our men and women that wear the cloth of our nation, and obviously you do the same. So it's fun.
No, you're the yeah. Hey, I have a special guest who wants to see you again, and you're going to remember him. Come on in.
I do. Oh,
Mikey.
Look at this. What's up, buddy?
From the Turning Stone. Here, stuck it here.
How are you?
Remember this dude?
Is he your co-host?
He's my co-host just for you. Yeah, he could.
Well, there you go. How have you been?
My first podcast I've ever been on. So.
Well, guess what? You're going to be really good at it because you're smart. I know you're smart.
Yes.
So you have to ask me questions now, right?
Yes, I can't do that very well.
No, he keeps telling about what you made him eat on stage and what you did to me on stage. My God, you made me eat seafood in front of my grandkids. Oh my gosh.
And I ate a lobster with peanut butter.
Lobster with peanut butter.
Wasn't that good?
Yeah, I still remember that. It was actually really good. It was really, really good. Yeah. I actually haven't ate lobster since, so
But
Yeah.
now you have to
because
explain.
everything closed
Now you have
down.
to explain the challenge so the audience and the listeners can understand that. Because in my live show, we start with 6 volunteers who pick lots of unique ingredients, and I have to make something out of it, but I'm blindfolded and headphoned, and I don't know, right? And then I have to create something in a very short amount of time that's edible.
Yes.
He'll never
was
forget
very
that,
good.
Robert. And the way you threw his flip flops out into the audience, he keeps bringing that up. And no
Yeah,
flip
collect
flops
them.
on
Did you get them
stage.
back?
I'm still wearing the same flip flops too.
Oh, come on now. You got to get rid of them flip flops.
Yeah.
Get Jim to get you some new ones. You need new ones.
I actually got new flip flops, but they're the same exact flip flops.
Oh my
I liked them.
Yeah, when I told him that
I
you
don't
were
like
on today, he goes, he went to, so he came down.
Yeah.
But I'll
Very
be up.
cool.
We'll be up in a little
Yeah.
while. He plays Monopoly every day
Yeah.
with the 4 grandkids. That's what I do during the COVID.
Well, listen, I am a champion Monopoly player.
Uh-oh.
Here's a key for you.
Yeah.
All the train stations,
Yes.
and all the
railroad.
yellows.
Yep.
Forget about the greens. Don't worry about the greens. Leicester
I
Square.
like the
Coventry.
greens at the end of the game. Those are good for them.
Yeah, but you got to put hotels on. You got to
Yeah.
think about money, right? And if you can play Monopoly, you can win in the world.
There you go. All right, bud.
I used to play a lot of Monopoly, so it's good.
Okay.
All right, we'll see him later. Hi, bud.
Okay.
Great to see you.
Say hi. All right, take care, buddy. Yeah, he really loves you, man. He's like, oh my God, you mean I could come on the podcast and talk to him? He was nervous all morning. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's the cool thing about you. See, you do things like that. You did something to him that he'll never forget you the rest of his life. What you did at that moment at the Turning Stone for that 10 minutes on stage. It's amazing what you do.
Well, we can all do that, right?
Yeah.
It's giving something, and especially to youngsters. You know, they're our future. They've got the world in their hand, and if you can engage in a very positive way, then they take those experiences and they become the givers of the new generation, right? So as we get older, we can't do so many things. You're already there, Jim. I'm still a little younger than you, but it works like that, right? And that's what we do.
You always got to rub stuff good. You always to me, man. But just like, you should see this stuff. Like, I know you're doing well during this tough time with the COVID and stuff. You know, I see you on the Restaurant Impossible show, and were those things filmed before this, or you doing it now?
So let me tell you,
Yeah.
just like the rest of the world, on March the 12th, I was actually in hospital. I was in State College, Pennsylvania, and I got food poisoning at a restaurant. Not that I was revisiting. So a year prior to that, I'd fixed a restaurant. I went back to revisit it, and I was staying in a golf course in State College, and I got sick. I got violently ill, and I was in hospital for 2 days. And then they shut down production, and the world shut down. And but these are all literally during COVID. I'm on a bus traveling the country. Well, I'm at home right now, but I've just come off 20 episodes of television, helping restaurants get back into business. So yeah, we're doing it right now during the COVID period, and very safely. But there are a lot of people, 11 million people in a hospitality industry that are suffering, and everybody else, obviously. But it's tough when you see, 1% of the national gross, which is hospitality, going down the tubes. And we need some help with the government. I don't want to get into all the politics and stuff. I don't do that, but we need some help for these folks that are hurting so bad.
Yeah,
so we're still doing shows. We'll be back out on the 8th to restart Restaurant Impossible. We've done Restaurant Impossible back in business with a smaller crew. Now we go back and do the original show. So.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, my industry, or the entertainment industry, music, magic, mental comedy, and nothing out there. That's why, I had so much stuff booked, Robert, back because my last show was back in March down in DC with Elaine's event, and I haven't been out since, other than grandkids and around here. But yeah, so that's why I started the podcast. I figured I could at least reach people this way, and we have a plan on how to reach a lot of people. Once I get like 15 under my belt, this is number 13, so this is really cool.
Oh,
you're
really?
lucky
You
number
should never
13.
have told me that. If this is 13, this is not good for me.
Oh,
This
come
is
on, man.
13. Well, you said 13. That's
You are not superstitious, man. Come
an
on.
unlucky number.
Yeah. Hey, but what I also liked about you is you believe, like, it's right on your website too. You believe nothing is impossible, and I like that attitude because this thing that I do, Robert, this ESPN thing, exercise your brain and body. Bingo. Here's you. All right. ES for proper sleep. Well, I don't know if you get that because you're so damn busy. P, I know you're extremely positive, 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 and the N for nutrition. So you definitely have the three of my ESPN things that, wow, who more could talk about ESPN than yourself? And your physical fitness, and I think you call it nutritional fitness. See, and I love that because that's all about what I do. But
Well,
tell
we're
me a
very
little bit
similar.
about that with the physical fitness. How do you find time to lift every day? Like people say, I can't get a half an hour. Well, look at you. Nobody's more busy than you, yet you find the
Well,
time.
let me tell you this. First of all,
Yeah.
we're very similar in what we believe in. We are working right now with the military in a huge project um, of nutrition and fitness and all those things that go along with it. So I think it's when we look about us as human beings, we're all stressed. We no matter we're living in COVID times, we stay at home for a lot of us. A third of us will go out, a third of us will hit restaurants, and a third of us will stay at home. Right? They don't want to go anywhere, and that won't change until probably next year when there's some type of vaccine and whatever. But to me, our foundation, just like you, our foundation really focuses on physical health, mental health, and post-traumatic stress and wounds of war that we don't see visibly. And that's what Dave works on. He's working on it now. But I've truly believed that since I was in the military. Fitness is a stress reliever. And if you think that we're asking our men and women that wear the cloth of our nation now to do longer deployments, harder deployments, be away from their families. So it's not only physical health that helps that, but it's mental health too. And I know you work a lot on that. So yeah, fitness, nutrition is huge, and that's something we are fighting right now. And we can, not only in the military, but in general, we look at our kids, and we just saw a prime example there. If we don't take care of their health now as kids, and we are a product of our families, right? So if we grew up like I grew up in England, and we would eat fish and chips and all the fatty stuff, and we're not known for food in England at all. And it's kind of funny because the top 10 restaurants in the world are actually in England. They're just not run by English people. So fitness is a big thing. Nutrition is a big thing. And we can actually guide, if we're really smart as parents and leaders, the way in which we grow and we train our kids and our military. Because if you think the military is made up of 70% of kids from military families go into the military. So it's really interesting, the statistics of obesity in this country, and not only here, but around the world. And how can we change that? So yeah, my biggest focus is families, fitness, fun, and food. Because if you put food and you get kids in the kitchen, they have fun. And then you incorporate that fitness piece, and it could be playing on a bike, it could be running outside, it could be playing hoops, taking the dog away. It doesn't matter what it is. You can actually change your physical look by 20 minutes of exercise a day. And you mentioned something there a second ago, where people always say, "Oh, I don't have time." Well, I'm going to tell you a story that maybe your listeners will get. I was working in Jamaica as the executive chef of the Renaissance Jamaica Grand Hotel. There was a young man by the name of Louis Farrakhan. You may know that name. So he was working out in the gym, and my GM called me and said, "Hey, I want you to go and work out in the gym. Come to the gym and work out." I said, "I'm so busy, boss, I can't come down." I hung up. We had 2,000 rooms, 2,000 guests, 750 rooms, and 7 restaurants. And I was kind of busy. And he said, "Okay," hung up, called me back 10 minutes later. And he said, "If you can't spend an hour out of your time with me, I don't need you. You can't manage time." Guess what I did? I put on my gym clothes. I went straight to the gym.
Oh,
And surprise, surprise, an hour and a half later, I came back and the operation was still running the way it was. So I think when people make excuses, and they are excuses, because if you really want to do something, you can achieve anything. You said nothing is impossible. And I truly believe that. No matter what time or I start a show in the morning, I've already worked out before, whether it be 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5, whatever the time is, or in the afternoon, I always get a workout in. I'm not the healthiest eater because I like to cheat. I eat what I want because I work out so hard, but I'm very careful in, the days that I cheat. I can have a cheat day or 2 days, but then I have to get back on, whatever else I'm doing. So food is important to me personally. My wife is an athlete, that, a wrestler. So although she's retired wrestling, she still thinks she's wrestling. She lives that life. She's away right now in Mexico. But yeah, our family is healthy. Our military is a big deal. And food, fitness, fun, and family.
What's your best cheater food? Like when you cheat, what do you?
Oh, listen, I'll eat anything. I mean, I love cookies. I love ice cream. I love chocolate, but only chocolate on like Twix bars and Mars bars and Snickers and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't eat chocolate in anything else. I won't do chocolate cookies or things like that.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm a chocolate chip cookie fanatic. You know that, and
That's why you've got no hair.
Oh, listen to you.
I'm just listen. If I don't give you a hard time, you think I like you or something. Yeah. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I love you.
So does your wife Gail? Did she ever kick your butt?
Oh, every day.
I remember her in the I remember that she was the champ at one time. She came in and was the champ. I remember that.
Yeah,
first time.
Yeah. She was. She's a Hall of Famer. She's first women's champion. Yeah, she's done really well, and she keeps me in line for sure.
So she's into the fitness stuff as well and the nutrition. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean, she is very careful what she eats. Unlike me, I told you I do cheat days. She doesn't do cheat days. So when I met her, I had to show that I was a gym nut and, all that kind of stuff. And I ate healthy just when I first met her the first couple of months. Impressions, right?
Yeah.
We have fun doing it.
Yeah, I do cheat weeks and maybe months sometime.
She cooks most of the food in the house when we're home, for sure.
Yeah, so let me ask you something else too. Like when we were at you had the restaurant in Vegas, the Tropicana.
Yeah.
And that's where I got turned on to that pastrami. I never had pastrami in my life, and your recipe for the pastrami sandwich out there is the most amazing sandwich I ever ate. It was just I must have had 5 while I was out there.
Well, it's interesting because when you were out there, and if you remember, I had the president, the CEO of the company there, and I asked you to go to the table and do some tricks and do some, not tricks, but what you do. And to me, what you do is very special. I don't think there's anybody like you. You're very unique. And you blew them away, and like you always do on these tours. I remember when and I'm kind of digressing a little bit, but it's kind of funny. When you asked me to hit my hand on a nail.
You remember that?
Nail was this big.
I have a video of that. We have a video of that. Yeah. I have a clip.
And like, what are you, crazy? Am I that stupid? No, I'm not going to do that. But the restaurant's great. Unfortunately, it's closed still till September 1. So we closed September 1. We closed in March. So we're hurting a little bit there. The one in the Pentagon is doing great, although, a third of where we normally are. And the one in Pennsylvania is still closed too.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is the Pentagon, is that open in the Vegas one?
Yeah, I was just there. With the Sergeant Major of the Army and some other folks last week, actually, during my travels with the show, because we're in Baltimore and DC. It's still open, but a third, the dining rooms are shut. It's to go only kind of stuff. But it's there. But, the restaurant business in general is, like I said, struggling a little bit, to say the least. But
I remember that the thing that we did. I think that was Diego Garcia, where
yes, 3,000 miles from the coast. Yes,
what a place to get a nail in the hand. Right, it's like or spike. It was a big spike.
Diego Garcia. Yes, and a lot of your listeners don't even know where that is, and and can share that it used to be a British base, and the Americans have had it, I think, since, I would say, 45, 50, somewhere around in 1950. And it's a strategic base that we use for things that go in the air. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But now the Americans just taking over. They just signed a deal, I believe, with the country there. So
I didn't understand all the donkeys running around there, though. Remember, like the donkeys run around there like the deer do in upstate New York. It's crazy.
well, yeah, well, they're protected there. There's nobody going to get them there. I mean, there's only a couple hundred people there. So
Yeah, that was
yeah,
really cool.
beautiful old plantations, beautiful place, but yeah, very hard to get to if you remember. I think it took us like 26 or 27 hours or something.
Yeah, it was in the middle of nowhere. My God. So, yeah, I don't think anywhere, even by air, is within 6 hours of there. It's just
No. Guam is, I think, where is it? Guam is the closest.
Yeah, Guam was the stop we made before that. I remember.
I think that was 8 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not an easy place to get to.
Yeah.
And is it designed to be easy to get to, I think. But
And that's why I can't believe I did that spike thing that day. Let me tell you a true story. Now, I don't even know if you know this. I did that spike thing one morning at a school called Orange County Community College in Middletown, New York. All right. I had it set up. I'm half asleep. And it is real, Robert. But between me and you and now everybody listening, I know where the spike is. All right.
Well, listen, it was very real to me when you said hit it as hard as you can. And I didn't know where the spike is. So, whatever, Jim Karol. It was not.
But I knew where the spike is. And I went down like this and I hit it because in my head, I'm thinking that a spike's here. And I slammed down on a cup and everybody's like, oh, in the front row. And I looked down at my hand, Robert, and there's a drop of red blood on the top of my hand. The spike was stuck so far in my palm that it was actually coming out the other end.
Oh, well, I'm glad you didn't do that with me because these are very expensive hands. They cook.
I'm sorry, I'm telling you this that it's not 100% foolproof. So,
Yeah. You tell me now.
I finished my show. They rushed me to the hospital. I got all these stitches. But what if that would have happened to me in Diego Garcia? Would I have been in good hands? I don't know.
Well, you're with the military, so yes, you would have, but it wasn't you doing it. You asked me to do it, and I said no, and then you did it.
Yeah, I remember.
So what happens if it happened to me?
That would have never happened to you, because I didn't put the spike under. Remember, I was making believe the spike was under, and I had it in my hand, so it was foolproof for you.
Oh,
but you didn't know I had the spike in my hand. Everybody in the audience did. Yeah.
No idea. And that was a small room, small stage. Yes, I remember it well.
Yeah, we had a blast. That was a blast. That was the most. I did a couple of these things, but with you, that was just and Dominick, you and Dominick, all fighting each other all the time.
I have never met, and I've done a lot of these USO tours, 24 I think in total, and our own tours, like before USO. I've never met a guy who was so taken back and changed is the word I would say on that tour, because he Paul Salva, General Paul Salva, and Miss Ricky, his wife, he became almost like their son, because he was real. He was moved because he'd never done those tours before, and it was really great to see how much he supported and got into it. And yes, I mean, he put me on the floor in like 3 minutes, right? Literally on the stage. I never forget it. I was going to be the big brute, and we not rehearsed it, but I just had my shoulder done. And I'm like, whatever you do, don't hurt me, Dominick, because you're going to put me back in hospital. But he was a wiry little fellow. I say that in the best possible way, and that's why he's such an amazing MMA fighter, and obviously commentator and all the things he does. He's a great guy.
Yeah, the guy's like really little compared to you and me, and I'd seen him do that to you on stage. On the plane, we're flying across. He's there, hit me as hard as you could, Jim. I go, so I went like saw. He goes, no, hit me as hard as you. I'm not gonna hit you. He goes, hit me as hard as you could. So I went half speed to hit him, and he's not there. He's on my back, give me a chokehold. He's like a cat. He's just so quick.
And he did the same to me. I mean, he literally wrapped his legs. I mean, yeah, he's not a guy I would like to fight.
No.
It wouldn't be a fair fight. But sure.
Yeah,
I don't care how big you are. That's why he's so good at what he does. And Chris and the rest, Chris Weidman and the rest of these amazing MMA fighters that support the USO and support our troops. that's what it's about, right? Giving back. And I think that's a big part of what we do.
Yeah, no, you do a lot of it. Trust me. Hey, I think we got somebody coming on here to join us pretty soon. Oh my God, look who it is! Unbelievable, buddy. How you doing?
What's going on, Jim?
What are you?
We made it work.
You look like you're down in where was that at, Robert? We were just talking about that island.
Oh, Diego Garcia.
Yeah, you look like you're in Diego
Robert
Garcia.
Irvine himself. How you doing, man? Long time.
What's up? I was just talking all good things about you.
How I had to climb up you like a brick wall about 35 times out across the world.
We just talked about that. It was so funny. I'm like, you are not a guy I would like to fight ever.
Well, I'll tell you what,
Ever.
you are a good wall, man. You're sturdy as they come, so appreciate it.
What are you up to? This is Jim's podcast.
Yeah, no, we're here to chat, baby. It's not an interview. Let's. What the heck's up, man? It's good. The three of us, man, a reunion. My God, this is great. This is great.
Good to see you guys again. Yeah, I just finished working out. Now I get to eat, rehydrate, and then get another workout in. And then I have a massage at 4 to try to get all the kinks out of the body from the workouts. And then my day will be done today. I leave this weekend out of town to cover an event with the UFC again. So I'll be doing that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you guys ever watch the fights, you'll be seeing me there.
I definitely am tuning in.
I
Definitely going to tune in.
I just told him, I'm like, listen, amazing fighter, but even better commentator.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I think because I watch the fights, because I know a few people that have some interest in UFC.
Right.
So are you going to Vegas or are you going somewhere else?
Yeah, this event will be held in Vegas at the UFC Performance Institute.
Yeah.
And Dominic, you're looking so freaking good. Look at how he looks, Robert. He looks like a man. Let's talk about fitness. When we were talking about fitness, you were like physically fit, like a beyond belief.
You guys keep talking to me like this. I'll come on your podcast anytime.
Never looks any different, dude. What are you talking about?
Come on, man. Look at this.
Looks fit and healthy.
He looks great.
So I gotta tell you, when we come, I'm coming back to Vegas. We open, I think, on the first week of September. Because obviously Vegas is in kind of a funk right now. There's some places open, there's some places not. But you know. So I gotta ask you, Dom, this. Who is, and it's kind of on the spot question, and you probably won't want to answer it, but who is your favorite fighter right now, regardless of wins and losses?
It's not about wanting to answer it. It's just a tough question. I would, considering everything that all these guys are doing, like the person that I look forward to watching fight right now to see like win, lose, or draw is probably Khabib or Gaethje, Justin Gaethje. Those two. Okay. Because I just love the way that currently those are two of my favorite. I just love the way they mix I grew up wrestling, so I love the way they mix the wrestling in with the striking, and they crush people with the pressure and the pace, and they just go to dark areas, and they go to dark places to get through some of these fights, and I can respect that.
One last question, then I wanted to then I'll let Jim. So Chris, I think I'm saying it, Weidman, right?
Yeah.
Is it Chris
Weidman? Yeah.
Right. He just fought. He lost 5.
Yes.
Lost 5. Came back. Won. What do you think? So Chris did a USO tour with me.
Oh, okay.
And it was a good time. He couldn't do what you did, by the way. So I'll say that out loud.
Chris is a good guy. You know what I mean? Chris is like, he's got a good heart and stuff. From what I've seen, he's a family man. So, as for a human being, Chris is great. I went to New York one time. He took great care of me. As for fighting, he's been a world champion. He beat one of the greatest of all time in Anderson Silva. So once you do that, you're kind of slated in history. The way he beat him too, knocking him out at the time that he did. But beyond that, this last win, I'm super glad to see him because he's had a catastrophic surgery on his neck. Like most people who get the surgery that he had don't even like turn their head, much less get into a fight. Yeah. And he went through the surgery, came back, won a fight. Can't really say anything bad about that. It's nothing but respect.
Yeah, no, I was very happy for. I was so happy for him. And I text him, and I wondered from a a professional commentator.
Legit what he did. It's very difficult what he just did. Very, 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 very difficult.
Very cool.
You can't even know,
Right,
you know, because sometimes the opponents take away. You're like, oh, we don't know who he fought, but it's like anybody in the UFC is top notch, and you're doing that after the surgery you sustained. You know, it's a big deal. But it's just like you. You know how you say I explain things, Robert? I think I think Jim would agree with me that what makes you successful in your industry isn't just the fact that you can cook. It's the fact that you can experience your experience by cooking. You can explain your experience so that other people can understand it, and then you go be what you need to be to make it work, and people can connect to that, and then that separates you from the masses in the food industry. I feel like why you've been able to be so successful, because you can also talk about it, explain it,
right.
teach people how to do it, you know, so there's a deeper version to it, I feel, and so that's why you see it.
Uh-oh, he's rubbing it in again, just like the tour, calling you a cook. Robert Hayes.
He's not a cook. He's
funny
a
because
chef.
that's what I
Yeah,
do.
I know.
No, but Dom's right. I do. I say that all the time with people that say to me, "Oh, you're a big chef." I'm like, no, I cook for a living. I put eggs on a plate and you eat it, and hopefully I cook the eggs well that you eat it. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm always impressed with. No matter what walk of life you walk in, fighting, pumping gas, driving, it doesn't matter. As long as you do it and enjoy it, it doesn't matter. And I've always thought that. So
I feel like because you enjoy it, that's why you do so well in the industry. Because how many people enjoy cooking? You've been able to make a huge living off of something that a lot of people want to be able to make a living off of. So you're killing it somewhere. You're doing something different. You're explaining it different. You're being different. It's pretty cool.
Right, Jim, give us some questions.
He's not only that, but look at him too, Don. He's a nice guy, man. He's just such a nice guy. I mean, I've never.
When I went on the trip, that's where I got to meet you guys, and it was cool. And then Jim, like, I don't even know what you are, man. You're I don't know how to explain you yet. I'm just here to learn. So why don't you talk now?
Oh, listen to you. Hey, look at, man, I love you guys. We had so much fun on that tour. That was like the most fun. 8-9 days we were together around the world. How many around the world we went completely, right? And
I think 40,000 miles or something in 9 days.
That was insane. I can't believe it.
What was it? 8 or 9 countries in 8 days? 8 countries in 8 days, or 9 countries in 9 days? Which was it? I don't remember.
Yeah. We ended up on an aircraft carrier getting catapulted off. That was the weirdest thing. That was. Wow. I mean, you guys could take it. You're young guys with me, man. That was tough on me.
Come on, man.
Hey, Tom, let me
stop faking it, Jim.
Hey, what do you see like what the UFC, like what are they going to plan to do if this continues, the COVID? Like, are they going to gradually allow some people in to watch the fights, or how do you know any plans off what's this Fight Island thing, and what's going on with that?
It's already happening. So what happens is during COVID, the United States and most countries have shut their borders off. Well, we have international fighters. We have fighters from all over the planet. So what Dana did is he went and made a deal with Abu Dhabi to where they could host a safe place to host fighters in these fights on kind of their own island that's separate from everything. They do 7 tests in like 5 days, or they do so many tests to stay clean, and it's so healthy that they were able to follow a protocol and build something out there in Abu Dhabi that international fighters can now fly there, and now American fighters can fly there. So now it's like business is back in action. Now, if you're fighting here in Vegas, then you're an American fighter. So they'll have an all-American events here in the United States in Vegas, because the international fighters can't get through the borders. So it was just a new location to allow international fighters to still take place in fighting while they keep we haven't even skipped a beat. UFC didn't stop I think they stopped maybe like a week of events, maybe 2 weeks of events. Other than that, the machine has been rolling. So everybody's working. Fighters are making money in a time where a lot of more than 3.5 million people have claimed not bankruptcy, but unemployment. Right. And a lot of fighters, some of us need to, but a lot of us haven't had to. It's a pretty big blessing that we're the sport that got to keep going, and now all the other sports are following suit. They just waited way later.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. This is that's the most amazing thing is this UFC, man. I wish they had it when I was a kid. My God, that was. What year did that start up? That started up when, dude? I forgot when that started up. I was.
Been around about 30 years,
Yeah,
roughly,
yeah.
give or take.
Yeah, I was already like close to
But I
40.
mean, if you think about it, that's a sport in beyond infancy. Realistically, if you compare it to the other sports, baseball, basketball, football, I mean, like all these other sports, martial arts has been around forever, but the sport itself of mixed martial arts only being maybe 30, 40 years plus at the pro level tops, and that's pushing it. And we're already not only the fastest growing sport in the world, but now during COVID, I feel like that elevated the sport so much because we're the only sport that was playing for months.
Yeah.
So it like really catapulted the sport. It's been good.
Well, it's great because everybody's sitting at home and now they get something live.
Yeah.
Right. You can watch it. I know because I've been glued to it. It's funny. I was never sitting at home. I never stayed at home and watched anything.
Yeah.
And yet I was home for 3 months. And I'm like, oh my God.
Like everybody else, I know. Isn't it crazy? You're like, give me anything to do. And then you're watching, you're like, okay, let's watch these people scrap.
There's not got a box in a box.
That's
yeah.
I was telling Robert about when we were flying. I forgot where we were flying over Russia. I don't know. And you're there, Jim, punch me. Jim, hit me. I'm like, I'm not going to hit you. He goes, trust me, you're not going to hit me. Hit me. And I went like half speed only at you. And in about a tenth of a second, you're on my back, put me in a chokehold. You're like a cat, man. It's like, it's so fast. I can't believe we were just talking about you on the podcast. It's amazing. And now,
here we are.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Dominick, what was that experience like for you on the USO tour? For you personally, because I know it moved you really.
Yeah, it was intense, man. It was, for me, it was, because I'm an empath, I believe, by just nature,
Right.
I was raised by my mom and my grandmother, so that's one thing that put me very in a different kind of place already. My dad wasn't really around, so I was raised by my mom and my grandmother, two very powerful women. So that kind of had me already locked into some empathic stuff, because my mom would always know what was happening before it was freaking happening. It would drive me nuts. She always knew what I was doing. Things like that. She just had a good vibe of like energy and feels and like spirits and spirit, like of the soul.
Yeah.
And when I was there doing this, that's what I felt when I was connecting to these veterans. And then I'll never forget Bagram. I think that's when we landed in, right? The air base. And it was one of the most volatile air bases you can land on in the world, period. Leaving and coming in, and being with the general, and then seeing the gravity of the realness of the situation that people are in right now, that I'm just like in America, not really having, you can't know unless you're there type of deal. Being there, landing there, seeing the that we had hired outside forces to come into our areas with Russian machine gun. Like it was like a movie, and the look on these guys' faces was just like, I murder people and that's it. Don't that's it. That's what I do. So what are you looking at? Like, there's nothing to see here, type of deal. That's they were like stones. And walking through and feeling that, and then them telling me that 2 weeks or 1 week before we get there, that building that we were in had actually just been exploded, because they had to hire local forces to come in, and apparently they'd been bringing chunks in. They built a bomb, blew up the entire building, and they built a tent in the exact area that this building was. It was just like, you could feel the energy of that. I couldn't not feel that when they told me, and when you saw the heightened security, and then to tee it off, you see that the look on the soldiers' faces to have anything other than those things to look at. Us. And we were responsible for creating something to lift them out of that area for just a moment. Just turn off the energy that I was feeling in there to step in there and give to them. That whole situation was a life-changing experience for me personally. It broke me down in the back. It was a lot, because I just had never felt that before.
And I can tell you, and I said this to Jim earlier, watching you, for me personally, who've done a lot of these tours, 24 tours, watching you ask the questions, feel the feel, and change. I watched you physically. I couldn't feel you, what you were going through, but I watched you change. It was the most, and I said this before you came on, that was the biggest thing for me to see that change, because you really got it.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that Paul and Ricky Salvo were like your parents.
Yeah, they definitely noticed it right away, both of them, especially Paul. Yeah, General Salvo really noticed that. Like Robert said, he like took you under his wing like you were his kid. It was like amazing to see that.
No, and then connecting with him and hearing his story and what that family had been through, that whole thing, connecting with all you people that I was working alongside to give. I learned so much from you guys, because you're all so much like wiser in life. You've lived life longer than me. You got more wisdom. And so to have you there allowed me to be more free in what I needed to be, because I knew you guys weren't going to judge me. I knew there wasn't going to be like, you guys were where I was at. You were I felt like you were surprised I was feeling what you felt, but everybody felt it. And when I heard his story and his wife's story about them losing their son, that made me cry too. I was like just crying everywhere I went on this thing with you guys, because all the stories were just so deep and intertwined. You could tell everybody carried so much like life with them, that we were all in a place ready to give because of the things we'd been through. And it worked out really nice.
It was perfect. It was a most memorable I know Robert done a lot more tours than I did, and that was definitely my most memorable with you two guys, because both you have an amazing heart. I could see that. See, I read people, and you both do this because you really, really have a good heart. It's not like, hey, I'm doing this to make it look good for my business, or, you know what I mean? You really, that's what I admire about both of you. And I'm so honored to have both of you on here together. It's like a reunion. We didn't see each other since that time, and I'm just really happy about this. This is great.
Yep.
Well, it's pretty awesome. I loved what I loved was, and again, for you, Dom, and I'm not a fighter, not like you, not a fighter, but you put me in a chokehold in like 3 seconds and threw me on the floor.
Yeah, you're throwing these two big dudes around. You're throwing us two around. All over.
I remember saying, do you remember what I said to you? Don't hurt me because of my shoulder.
Yeah. He was like, I'm sore.
Don't hurt me.
Take it easy. Come on, man. I'm here I took good care. When did I ever hurt you, man? Come on.
I got to tell you, I was
harmless.
Seriously amazed at how fast your agility, obviously what you do, but for somebody that watches it on a screen and doesn't really, it's not my world, but to watch it firsthand and feel it firsthand, I would hate to be in the octagon and like get hit by you.
And that's the thing. Nobody really gets to actually feel what we do. But when you actually feel like somebody able to crawl up you the way that, like with technique, which I've felt before, obviously, with higher level black belts than me, or there's certain guys, when they grab a hold of me, I'm like, I've never felt something like this before in my life. I'm like, it's like, whoa, like they're strong, they're tight here, like, whoa. So if I can still have that feeling to this day doing martial arts for 15, 20 years, you know, I mean, imagine what you're going to feel like never really doing it. You got me crawling up and like you just hadn't felt a feeling like that before. So I think that if everybody in the world got to feel, you know, a fight, have your head down in the corner getting smashed into the fence, I think the whole world would kind of shift a little. A lot of humility would come in.
Definitely.
Sure.
Hey, Dominick,
people just need to get smashed nowadays. They just talk too much on the internet, and they don't have to receive anything.
How much of it is mental? How much of the game?
All of it. You know that. That's where you come in.
Yeah.
It's 100% mental. I'm going to tell you what, because essentially a fight is this. It's not how can I dodge the car crash. It's how can I create the car crash and survive. That's it. you're constantly just creating collision, and you're trying to take the less of the collisions till you smash the other vehicle or human in the collisions. And essentially, you got to train your body to be willing to sacrifice parts in those collisions, right? And so that's a mental thing. If you can't do that, then all your martial arts don't really mean anything, because you've got to be able to weather the collisions.
That's good.
And that takes how long to not to learn that, but when you fight and you prepare, how far in advance do you prepare, and then how long after the fight do you recover?
For me, I've had fights where I've been able to recover in a matter of 3 days, but then I've had a lot of my fights have been title fights, which are like 5-round wars, and those can take about a month to heal completely, like to where you're feeling normal again. But you're walking and you're living life within that week, but you're not healthy. You're not.
But it's interesting to hear your analogy of crashes, because that's exactly what it is, right? You're creating crashes every second, and you've got to come off the best.
Yeah, you just gotta hope that the crash that you create doesn't break you enough that you can't continue, and then also hurts them so that they can't continue. So there's a balance, because you can kick. I've kicked people a lot of times and broken my feet, and if you kick in the wrong spot, break your foot, now you're down a foot. And the whole point was to hurt them, not yourself. So that can be really annoying sometimes,
Are you enjoying commentating? By the way, and I'm not sucking up to you, I think you're really good at it.
Thank
you.
Saying. I appreciate that. I mean, I've had a lot of time to get good at it with all the injuries. So, but that's why I shifted to it, was because I got injured and I needed to keep giving back to the sport some way. So I did that. But I do enjoy it because I can give to the fighters, and I can, there's a time where I'm fighting and I feel like the commentators have no idea what I'm doing or what I'm thinking or what I'm looking for. They just have no idea what I'm doing. So I feel that I'm there to support the fighter, to show the world what they're thinking, what they're going through, how they feel, more than what I'm thinking.
Because you experienced it.
Yeah, and I know that that's their time to shine. That's what they get. They get 15 minutes. It's not about what I think. It's about breaking down what they think and what they're doing, how I believe that they're thinking in that moment for the world to see, so that the world can understand what they're going through, not what I think it looks like. None of it really has to do with me. It has to be about the athlete, the fight, and the sport. And if I make it an outward focused thing, then I always support who I need to support.
I have to ask you this.
How old are you, Dominic? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
How old? Yeah.
I'm 35.
You have and this is me, you're a very old soul. You're very wise in a very different way.
You beat me to that. Seriously. That's what I was going to tell them, the same thing. You're like wise. You're wise beyond your years. Like, man, it's crazy.
Because I never got to talk to you like this.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's so much going on.
Yeah, we were busy.
But it's really interesting. I want to spend time with you to figure out how you see the world.
I'd love to hang out with you too, because you got a lot to teach, man. You're a smart guy. You've been through a lot yourself. We got Cali. I'm in Vegas all the time. I'm out there next weekend. You know what I mean? I'm out there this weekend. I leave Friday. I'll be in Vegas. You know what I mean?
I want to pick your brains on some stuff.
Yeah, let's do it. We can get together and make that happen. But right now, you asked me about commentating. You asked me about, do I like it? I do like it because it gives me an outlet to give back to the sport that's given me so much. As long as I keep coming from that and not, I want to be on TV to tell the world what I know because I've been a world title holder and I know this and I know that. Nobody gives a shit what I know. What people want to know is what these athletes are going through, what each fighter is feeling in that moment when they're getting beaten down, and when, what a fighter's feeling how much credit they should get when they're getting beaten down and they get up and knock the other guy out. Like, listen, that guy is a beast. Like, watching Marlon Vera versus Sugar O'Malley in this last fight. There's a fight right now that there's a big underdog versus a favorite. And, you know, he took him out so quickly that people can't even believe it sometimes. And you're like, those are the places that I'm glad to be in this sport, because I can give to the world that, like, look, this guy just beat somebody very easily, and this guy had all the hype. The guy that had all the hype got beaten. And it's like, you got to understand that in this sport, that's the problem, is like hype means nothing. It's car crashes. This guy won the car crash. It's that simple. And he was mean and tough, and he was ready to do it. And that's about the fighters. It's not about anything else, you know?
But that's what makes you so different. And that's what makes me a guy that wasn't interested in UFC. I wasn't interested in it, right? Now I am. And I think that's, the sport is growing because of people like you.
I hope that happens for a lot more people. Thank you for telling me that. I mean, that's feedback so that I can use it and keep doing what I'm doing.
Well, it makes it simple for me to understand, you know, I know you from a trip and you're a great guy and you do this. And I told you how I watched you be moved, which moved me because that's my life. The military is my life.
Yeah.
It's what I do. I feed it. I live it. I breathe it.
Thank you.
I'm in the Pentagon. I'm in the thing, you know, so for me, it's a really great, and I know the troops, and male and female, loved it. We've got to get you doing more when we can get out of this.
I would love to do another one with you guys, of course, but I'm all about the military with you. I had a lot of family in the military. My dad was in the Navy. I've had uncles that, like, two of my uncles, one's a detective, another one was a sergeant in Richmond, Virginia, of police. So, like, I come from a family of police and military. So, yeah, I grew up putting flags on Memorial Day at all the cemeteries with my grandmother. So that's my heart and soul too. I really appreciate, I do as much as I can for the military. They do more than people even know.
We definitely got to get together on this tour, Robert. We got three of us again.
Listen, we can make, listen, we just got to get through this a little bit more, but I know that we can make that happen.
I love your car crash analogy, man. That is so cool. Hey, so any car crashes for you in the future yet, you think? Or?
Yeah, you know, I think I want to fight in November. We're going to see. I'm going to talk to the UFC probably this week and see about getting something going before the end of this year. I'm feeling good. I've been, you asked how long, one of your questions was how long does it take to get that to wire your body? Well, you got to stay consistently, sparring, drilling, fighting, creating the car crashes in practice for, I'd say, a good 2-3 months before you do a 3-month camp. So I'd say a good solid 6 months of just nonstop training 1 or 2 times a day. If you haven't done it for a year or more, is really important.
So this is for both of you. This is Dave Reed. He runs my foundation. So
nice to meet you, brother.
Ranger lost his leg in Afghanistan. So he's. I wanted to say hi to you because
thank you, man. I appreciate
he's the real. He's a big deal, but
I appreciate it. It's good to meet you, brother.
You too, man.
This guy's an animal.
I heard so you took him out? What?
Oh, he took you out.
It's just it's teaching people. You know what I mean? You know how it is. It's just a little.
You're so humble. You're so humble.
Enough to get me in trouble. So
you are so humble. I'll tell you, it's amazing. You could kick the butts of Robert and me all over the place at the same time. And
this guy just climbed up me like I was a tree and then dropped me quicker than I could. Like, I'm serious.
When you've had that done to myself, as you got to understand that I do that to you and know it's going to shock you because it's been done to me and it shocked me. I'm like asleep on the floor. I get put to sleep. You don't expect it. It's like, whoa, that hit me out of nowhere.
Well, Dominic, next time you fight, Dominic, we're gonna be there, Robert. We gotta.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, we know enough people. We know enough people in the UFC, and it's so funny because when you said that, Dom, about being, chokehold and out, I watched literally on a USO tour, Paige do the same thing to a soldier.
Yeah.
And literally everybody's heart stopped. Everybody stopped like, oh my God, what? And takes a minute and they come around again, but everybody just stopped like.
Yeah, trips them out. You think they're dead.
Oh my God. I told you as soon as Dominic comes on, it's going to get the energy boosted, huh? Was I right?
You were sleeping.
Yeah, I know. He woke us up.
Well,
Hosting the podcast, you were
I'm
sleeping.
taking a nap here, man. I'm 67, man. I had to get my afternoon nap in.
well, look, man, I'm glad I could build it up. I
Thank
wanted
you.
to come in, drop by, drop a line to you boys. I got to keep going because I hit my next training session. But I love you guys, man.
Likewise,
you know,
man.
we
Love you
gave
guys.
so much to the veterans, and we went around the world, and I learned so much from you guys. Robert, I would love to stay in touch, and I would love to pick your brain too and get that done. Jim, we're going to stay in touch. Yeah. And thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming
It's
on.
great to see you, Dom.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
You guys have a good day. All right.
All right. Take care, buddy.
Be good, Dom.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Thanks, Dom.
Well, there you go. What a great, awesome guy. Just amazing. He's so
Real.
beyond.
He's real.
Yeah.
And he's got his head together, and he does have wow. He's like years beyond his. It's amazing. He was like that when we talked on the trip. I sat aside him for that whole trip, and he was like, the stuff he was telling me, I'm like, man, I can't believe this guy's so young. He knows his wisdom is beyond belief.
So I'm going to wrap up now. This is Jim Karol, the ultimate memory magic genius. And thanks for joining us. Make sure you check us out next time. It won't be as good as Robert Irvine and Dominick Cruz, but, you know, tune in.
This is the best, buddy. Thank you so much, Ryan. I love you, buddy. Okay, brother.
Hey, be good. Talk to you soon.
So much.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. This is it. Signal Relief. I know what you're thinking. What the heck is it? It looks like alien technology of some kind. But let me tell you something. This really works. I mean, I worked at a steel mill. I lifted weights when I was younger, and I hurt my back so bad, and chronic back pain for the last 20 years. And my buddy Mike sent me one of these in the mail, stuck it on my back while watching TV for an hour, and all of a sudden the pain's gone. This is the real deal. Rave reviews, Signal Relief. You can find it on the podcast site, jimkarol.com/podcast, or I think it's signalrelief.com is connected with that as well. One of the best things I ever seen in my life, Signal Relief.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Beating the Odds with Jim Karol. Today on the podcast, we had Dominick Cruz and Chef Robert Irvine. Don't forget to visit our YouTube channel for the full video version of the podcast. That is Beating the Odds or Beating the Odds Jim Karol on YouTube. You can also visit jimkarol.com/podcast for all of the links to your favorite platforms. And lastly, visit signalrelief.com and use exclusive promo code MEMORY only for our Beating the Odds listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.